If you've ever, hit record in a language app and then just cringed hearing your own voice kind of stumble through a phrase, you know that feeling. The real hurdle often isn't the grammar rules, it's actually speaking, getting the words out smoothly. That exact challenge, that leap from knowing words to actually, well, talking fluently, is what one big app claims it can solve using some pretty specialized AI. So today we're doing a deep dive into LingoPanda AI language learning. Some of you might remember it as PingoLearn. We're looking at its methods, its tools, and yeah, even its business side.
Right. And our mission here is really to get past the marketing buzzwords. We want to unpack how this AI system is actually built, like what specific choices, what tech does LingoPanda use to really push for speaking fluency and confidence, maybe more than traditional ways of learning.
Okay, let's dig in and maybe start with the scope. Because
Yeah.
LingoPanda isn't trying to, tackle everything at once. They're currently focused just on English or Spanish. Pretty narrow.
Yeah, and that's likely very strategic. Focusing on just two huge languages means they can pour resources into getting the tech right for those specific sounds instructions. Their core mission, based on what we've seen, isn't just teaching vocabulary. It's about making it accessible, fun, and maybe crucially stress-free.
That stress-free part really jumps out if you've ever felt that anxiety about speaking.
Exactly. It speaks directly to that psychological block.
Yeah.
They're aiming straight for conversation-level fluency, making it less intimidating.
So how do they actually create that less stressful space? How do they get you past that fear? You mentioned the method involves AI, interactive stuff, and real-life scenarios.
That's the core blend, yeah.
Yeah.
AI-driven tech, interactive content, and simulating real situations. When you put those together, the idea is it feels less like, homework and more like you've got a personal tutor on call whenever you need them.
Okay, like a patient tutor who doesn't judge.
Pretty much. And what's really interesting is how the AI is tuned specifically for pronunciation. That's often the biggest barrier to actually being understood and feeling confident. If you can't make the sounds clearly, your confidence just tanks, right?
Yeah.
Maybe you stop trying. This is where their tech really seems to step up.
How so? What's it doing differently?
Well, the key piece seems to be their AI speech recognition and feedback system. And we're not just talking about basic voice-to-text like on your phone. The materials suggest it uses some pretty advanced phonetic analysis. It's probably trained on a ton of data, including non-native speakers. So it doesn't just check if you said the right word. It actually analyzes the sounds within the word where you're maybe deviating from a native speaker.
Oh, so it's more granular.
Exactly. And it gives you instant real-time feedback on both that pronunciation accuracy and your overall fluency, like your pacing and rhythm. That immediate correction loop is supposedly key for really mastering the mechanics of clear speech.
Okay, that precise, almost mechanical correction sounds super useful for nailing individual sounds. But how does that translate to real conversations? You can, say a word perfectly in isolation, but still kind of freeze up trying to use it in a sentence. How does LingoPanda make sure that perfect pronunciation is actually usable?
That's the next piece. They connect that AI feedback to highly curated content. We're talking over 1,000 interactive videos and role-play lessons. And crucially, these aren't just random videos. They're designed by native speakers, covering a really wide range of real-life topics and conversations.
So you practice the sounds within actual context.
Right. It anchors that abstract AI correction in something practical. You're not just fixing a vowel sound. You're fixing how you ask for coffee or how you introduce yourself at a party.
Okay, that makes sense. But still, perfection isn't quite fluency, is it? I mean, you could sound perfect to the AI.
But still clam up with a real person.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That jump from practice to real interaction is where many learners stumble.
So how does LingoPanda handle that final kind of high-pressure step?
This is where their strategy gets quite interesting, almost a two-pronged approach. The app gives you two very different ways to practice conversation. And they seem designed to meet different needs, psychologically speaking.
Okay.
First, there's the AI chat. Think of this as your safe space, the low-stakes practice zone. You have ongoing conversations with the AI tutor. It gives you immediate, clinical corrections on your mistakes. The idea is learn fast, fail fast, without feeling embarrassed. Maximize the mechanical learning through lots of quick feedback.
Right, building the muscle memory without the social anxiety. But is there a risk there? Like if you get too used to that perfect instant correction from the AI, does that maybe make it even harder when you don't have that safety net in a real conversation? Did the sources mention that?
That's a great point, and it seems that's precisely why the second practice mode exists. Real conversations. This feature connects you with other actual users of the app for real-time interaction.
Okay. Peer-to-peer.
Exactly. And the stated goal here is explicitly about building confidence in speaking. In this mode, you often have to let go of waiting for perfect correction. You just have to try to communicate with another human, mistakes and all.
Yeah.
You navigate the ambiguity.
So you're forced to actually use the skills, even imperfectly.
Right. It forces you to externalize what you've learned with the AI. It's a really smart dual approach, actually.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Use the AI for the precision mechanics, then use the peer practice for the real-world confidence and, well, messiness. It tackles both sides.
Precisely. The technical and the psychological barriers addressed separately but within the same system.
And then to make sure all that learning, especially correcting those mispronunciations, actually sticks, they seem to use some other features too, like beyond just the core practice.
Yeah, they have supporting features that seem grounded in, like, cognitive science principles for memory.
Okay, so not just points and badges.
Well, there are fun games and quizzes, sure, for general vocabulary building and tracking progress. That's pretty standard gamification. But there's one feature highlighted that seems more specific and powerful. The system apparently tracks the specific words and phrases you personally mispronounced,
Oh, interesting.
and it deliberately brings them back up for you to practice again later.
Ah, targeted review.
Exactly. It's not just random review. It's a targeted application of spaced repetition and retrieval practice, but focused specifically on your known weak spots in pronunciation. So instead of you forgetting that correction from last week, the app makes you actively recall the right way to say it. That continuous loop on your errors is likely vital for long-term improvement.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. We mentioned this app used to be called Pingalearn, now it's Lingopanda. What do we know about that change in sort of the bigger picture?
Yeah, the sources confirm the rebrand to Lingopanda, language learning, but they also stressed that the core mission stayed the same, focusing on English and Spanish-speaking fluency. The name change itself. Probably a strategic marketing move, trying to get a clearer, maybe more appealing brand identity in a very crowded app market as they grew.
Makes sense. And growth usually means thinking about access. How does Lingopanda handle that? Is it free? Is it paid?
It's fundamentally a free app, which is almost a requirement to compete these days.
Okay.
They offer a good amount of content up front, enough to get started and likely see some real progress.
So you can try it out pretty extensively without paying.
Absolutely. That free tier is their way in, their hook. But, like many platforms, their long-term model relies on in-app purchases for premium subscriptions.
Yeah.
You know, they need to capture users first with the free stuff, then convert the really committed learners to paid subscribers. It's a common strategy.
Right, so if I'm using the free version, I'm getting the AI feedback, the practice videos, maybe some peer chat. What's the incentive to upgrade? What does premium unlock?
Premium seems to offer, well, more depth and eventually fewer limits. Deeper, more specialized content, perhaps more advanced topics or specific accents, more features, maybe advanced analytics on your progress, and often, crucially, unlimited access to certain practice modes, maybe the most intensive AI conversations or more peer interaction time.
Okay.
The way the source material frames it suggests the free version aims to get you functionally fluent. You can manage basic conversations. The paid version is pitched more towards diving deeper, really mastering English or Spanish, refining things, getting closer to native-like proficiency, maybe tackling really specific vocabulary for work or hobbies.
Got it. So it's moving from can I communicate to how well can I communicate?
Exactly, from functional communication to true command.
Okay, so wrapping this up, what's the main takeaway here for someone listening, someone who really wants to bridge that gap between knowing a language and actually speaking it confidently? If we boil it down, Lingopanda's unique angle seems to be how it really commits to combining that very personalized, technical, real-time AI correction for your sounds, with that necessary psychological push of interacting with real people. It's a system built entirely around getting clear sounds out of your mouth confidently in real situations.
Yeah, it's that blend of tech and psychology focused squarely on speaking. And that balance leaves us with a pretty interesting final thought to consider, doesn't it? Thinking about the ultimate goal, true long-term mastery of a language, not just getting by which tool is actually more impactful in the long run. Is it the immediate, non-judgmental, technically perfect feedback from the AI tutor constantly correcting your mechanics? Or is it the confidence and, frankly, the grit you build by navigating those messy, uncorrected, sometimes awkward interactions with fellow human learners? Which one really builds deeper mastery?
That's a great question. The difference between refining a skill in isolation and truly owning it in the wild. Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the mechanics and methodology behind Lingopanda.